and welcome to Epic Battles ACW vlog number 7, I think. So it's probably been a week or so since my last vlog on this. I've put quite a few other videos out. Don't panic, anyone who's worried I'm already going off onto other historical periods. This is the main topic historical wise for this channel for a while, but I've always said there will be a few other videos. There's a little bit of bolt action stuff gone up on there, and I did some unboxings of some riflemen, so I may paint the odd other thing, but this is my main project historical wise still. I've been away for a few days. I had a few days away with the family as restrictions eased up in the UK. So those of you in the UK will know that on the 12th of April we were able to legally stay away from our homes for the first time if it was self-contained accommodation. So the wife and the couple of my two kids, we went away for a few days. Not many, but just went somewhere by the coast. Wasn't particularly hot, but it was the sun was out and it was lovely to be away and buy an ice cream, go for a walk, play around on the beach and things, and just generally have a change of scenery. But of course that means that I'm not painting when I'm away. So part of what I've done since vlog number 6 is I've been doing some reading, and a lot of it to do with planning my armies around particular engagements, but I'll come back to that a little bit more in a few moments. So let me move the books out of the way to start with, or at least to the side, and we will talk a little bit about what I have painted. So I've been painting some more units. I'm not going to go in super close on those. Seems a little bit pointless, because it's the same schemes that I did the tutorial for, but they're here almost just to provide a little bit of scale as well. So let's zoom in a little bit and look at what I have finished painting. So we have the Gettysburg Gatehouse, the battlefield Gatehouse. So I built, I did an unboxing and build on the kits a couple of videos ago now, not too long ago. I haven't got around to painting them both, just because of my limited hobby time, at least at my desk while I've been away. But I did paint this one, and much like the other Sarissa buildings, you know, putting the paint on makes all the difference. This is where the quality of the Sarissa kits and the way they use layers to provide detail really shows through, and it's you know, they take paint, I believe, very well, unlike some of the more basic flat MDF kits out there, which can be a little bit lackluster once you've painted them. I've used a mixture of methods here, but it's mainly Gorgontra contrast paint, lots of dry brushing, wildwood on the roof, basilicum grey around the bottom, and again lots of dry brushing, some weathering powder added, so some Vallejo pigments, light senna, the same 2mm tufts that I've been using on my armies from war paint figures, and that's it really. So if you've seen the previous buildings that I've shown on the YouTube channel, then pretty much same methods, but it's painted up okay. I think it's quite nice. It'll definitely sit nicely on my shelf with the miniatures in front of it. I'm not planning a Gettysburg game, so it's so iconic, I can't see me just sticking it on the table to use as kind of generic stuff, while the farmhouse and things are, you know, specifically from Gettysburg. They, you know, almost could work for many different settings. But the seminary building and the gatehouse, they're buildings I don't know when I'll use them in a game. I'm not sure I will, but they're fantastic and I'm very happy to own them. But this one will live on the shelf of the miniatures cabinet, probably with the Union Army lined up in front of it. If I hold a Union stand up in front of it, I think it's pretty cool. Right, so let's put them away and get the big stack of books back. So what was I doing in the big stack of books, you didn't ask? Right, so when I was away on holiday, I decided I could do a little bit of reading, and I didn't want to take loads with me, and I'd asked a question on the epic battles groups, and quite a few people responded, and I was asking about finding the detail of the order of battle, but not just list of regiments, but the actual unit strengths in terms of numbers of men, and I was really struggling to find it for Antietam. And Antietam is the battle at the moment that most interests me, has done for years, ever since I've been interested in this period, but I've not really looked at that kind of detail before. It's just not something I've felt the need to, and I've got my Osprey book, and I have my Gettysburg Osprey book, and in the Gettysburg Osprey book you've got unit strength by regiment in terms of individual numbers of men, which is fantastic. So I went to look in the Antietam book and it's not there. You've got a brilliant order of battle, excuse me, but no individual unit strength. So I started googling it, couldn't find it. There's a really good website, an Antietam battle website, which I thought might have had some and then didn't. So I asked the question, quite a few different people made some suggestions, including that website. And again, I went to it and it's got quite a lot of information, and some units it does have full strength for, but others it doesn't. So I was kind of back in my head a little bit, but I took on board some of the suggestions of books, and I bought The Cornfield by David A. Welker, which I'm really enjoying at the moment. So regardless of, it doesn't have the information I require in terms of individual regiments unit strength, but it's a brilliant read and I'm really enjoying it. So I can definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in what feels like a kind of a fresh style of writing. It's not dry and an old-fashioned historical writing. I don't know when it was written, I haven't looked, but it's a good read. It reads very easily. It reads like a good novel to read, even though it's a historical book. So I put my iPad to one side anyway, but I took that away with me, and that's all I was really reading in terms of real details when I was away. And then we have a few more. So the first sources I went to were the obvious ones, so that the things that were written by Warlord or on behalf of Warlord by Osprey, etc. And there's nothing in Glory Hallelujah or the main rule book that really pertains to Antietam other than the general information, so I can put that to one side. There is an Antietam scenario in the main rule book where they do the whole thing, but they abstract a lot, as you can imagine, and reduce the numbers down. It doesn't quite do what I want to do, because I want to focus very much on the cornfield area, hence the subject of the previous book I was talking about. And we'll come back to this one in a moment. This just wanted to share you because it's a bit of fun, really. But I got this quite cheap through Amazon, I believe. Amazon used bookseller though, so I don't know. I couldn't send you in a particular direction, but I searched it and it came up, and it was the only one. But it has got a bit of information. It's a nice read. It's more of a coffee table read, but it's got these beautiful maps. Not very useful to a wargamer, other than just to kind of drool over. But I thought they're quite charming. I really quite like them. So I just thought I'd grab that out because I've been flicking through it at the same time. Nice book, but again, not really loads of information. And of course the good old Osprey books, in terms of descriptions, really useful. It does give me a good idea. So we're looking again Hooker's attack, and we're looking at Westwood's area and Cornfield. So it gives me lots of information. Makes me know I want to do this part of the battle. You've got a fairly useful map there, but it is very much an overview, but it gives me an idea. And this is another one of the recommendations that was made when I asked in the groups about the strength, and it's got an order of battle in the back, and that order of battle has numbers, and I thought, right, hello, we might be getting somewhere now. But then I realised it was very much like the information that's on the Antietam battle website, which I really should find out the name of. There we go, on the iPad there. So Antietam on the web .org, so antietam.aotw.org. And now this was recommended as well, and you can click on the individual corps commanders, and then on the individual divisions, and then on divisions you can click on the brigades, and then you got your information for your regiments. And I know I should be doing this while plugged into I'm recording myself on my computer doing this, but I didn't plan to. And then it's got an idea around numbers, but most of the time the details are missing. So I kind of thought, well, I've hit another brick wall there. And then I found this book, with the help as a suggestion from someone in one of the groups. And I'm sorry, I'm not mentioning anyone's names out that have made these suggestions. I couldn't remember which person remembered what, and I don't know if people want their names read out on YouTube anyway without permission. But this is all based on recommendation. It's got quite good detailed information, but there are still massive gaps for some units and regiments. Just no information at all. So John Bell Hood here, we've got number of people present. Other units, it's just nothing at all. But it does have an overall brigade strength for quite a few people, so I could work out some averages and things. So I thought, well, this is useful, I can get there. And then so someone posted again, I think it was in the Warlord Epic Battles group, the main one, the one that's got sort of nearly 800 people now, an image showing all the books they just ordered, and this was one of them. And I think they're all by the same author, which is this Brad Butkovich, and they're basically designed for wargamers, and they are scenarios. So let me show you what we got inside. So it tells you how to use the book, talks about terrain, talks about turn times and things like that. Obviously you don't need to run the scenarios directly as out the book. Talks a bit about how brigade makeups are. But the most important thing, so I'm not giving a review of this book here, I may come back to it actually. Most important thing is you got orders of battle. If I actually go to the one that pertains to what I'm interested in, so the cornfield. You got overview of the game, deployments and things, really, really handy. And you've got orders of battle with numbers. Now, some of these may be estimated or maybe he's averaged. I'm not sure he's got them. I've not read the book cover to cover yet. I've only had it a day or so. But it's got the kind of information I need to work out whether I'll be able to play the whole cornfield area using my collection, how much more I need to buy, how I use my troops, how I divide them up, etc, etc. There's a couple of things I want to note on without going into too much boring detail, because I don't want to make this video sort of much more than 20 minutes maximum. But where the unit strength of each individual unit has been very, very small, so you can see here with these New York regiments, the 22nd, the 24th, 30th and 84th, their combined strength was only 161. So he's combined them together to perform essentially one regiment in terms of game rules on the table. So you've got your brigade, 2 units within that brigade. I think that works out quite well. I don't know how it will work if all the regiments in a whole brigade are that small, because then you've got a mix of structures. So you still here can have a brigade commander and what looks like 2 regiments underneath in that brigade, but 4 of them are making up 4 regiments, are essentially making up 1 in terms of numbers. But I like the logic behind it, and it will definitely reduce the number of command stands and models you'd need on the table. So if I keep flicking on, you can see all the information's here for all the units involved in the cornfield area, which is just incredible. And then we get through. Okay, so this is part of my kind of question around that. So the whole Stonewall Brigade there, and I believe there were 4 regiments present from the Stonewall Brigade, are combined together to a combined strength of 281, which kind of makes sense. I can imagine, other than having 4 tiny units, you have 1 sort of regular strength, and I imagine maybe they fought like that at the time. Quite often you'd have lower ranked commanders. You've got a colonel there in command of the Stonewall Brigade, but what officers are left in charge of each of these smaller regiments? Hardly anything. So this may well make it sort of doable to use sort of black powder and not have to go to some of the other rules out there. So I really want to keep using black powder if I can. But anyway, it's given me something to work from. Once I read this book, maybe if I play a scenario or something out in a few months, I might come back to it and actually do a bit of a review on them. And I'm probably going to pick up I'm so impressed with this. So in my first flick through, that I'm going to grab the Gettysburg one and the other ones, and I might put them on the screen now, just the images of the different titles that he does, because they just look fantastic. At the back of the book, just before I close up and talk about something else, at the back of the book there is the full order of battle for the whole battle, and within that, where he's combined troops like the Stonewall Brigade. Let's see if I can find them. So we're still on Union at the moment. Yeah, I mean, here we are. So we got Jones's division, Stonewall Brigade. So we looked at that in the scenario, where that combined brigade strength of 281 was basically as a one unit, as a regimental size unit in the scenario. But you see with how small, how low their establishment levels were, or their estimated levels. I'm going to say the 4th and 5th, the 27th and the 33rd Virginia have all got under 100, so that's comfortably, they're going to be tiny units in black powder. So do you run 4 tiny units, or do you run it as one? So that will be something I need to work out, what works better. It may well be that because of the small size, it just makes more sense to do that. And I imagine as well, if you're looking at, say, for Virginian units there, you've got the Virginian flag provided by Warlord Games in the flag sheets. So one Virginian flag is going to be much the same as any others at that scale. So just having a Army of Northern Virginia flag and a Virginia flag on your command stand, and you just say that's the Stonewall Brigade, and they act as a unit, act as a regiment in terms of game terms. The only question you'll have then is how you work out the commander and a brigade commander. Because you do some brigades will end up being like regiments, but you may well have other parts of the game, maybe on the Union side, when you do have some regiments that are big enough to be on their own, and then those brigades need to be like brigades. I'm not making myself very clear here, but you could basically make the divisions act like brigade commanders in black powder is what I'm getting at. But then another formation in the same battle may well have enough in unit strength that wouldn't work, and then you're back to kind of division and brigade strength. So you need to find a system that works both ways, or stick to one or the other. And I do like to have as many individual regiments represented on the table as possible. I quite like that. I want the character and the performances of the individual regiments, not just brigades, to be present. But I might not be able to happen. That's part of the journey I'm going to go on with planning on how I can maybe achieve an Antietam game. Now, the final part of that, I suppose, is, and I was making some notes when I was away on holiday, is working out, in terms of real numbers, what's tiny, what's small, what's regular, what's large from these numbers. I don't think, and I might be missing something, I might have skipped past it, I don't think that's written down formally anywhere. If it is, I'm sure someone will tell me very quickly in the comments. What are people's thoughts on that? So for me, the 77, 72, 76, 56 is quite clearly tiny. That's not a problem. But what's small? Is it 100 to 250 or 300 men, and it's regular 300 up to 500, and large units anything over 500, anything over 600? How do we take this information and turn that into stands for black powder? Because if there's a lot of units that are going to be 2 stand and 3 stand rather than 4 stand, then great, I can get more and more units out of it, and playing this game as one big game, at least in terms of numbers of figures, becomes even more possible. I think I did a quick count up, and using the order of battle for the game, maybe not for this, but I think there might be 30 regiments or so needed for Confederate and 50 odd for Union. So 50 for Union might be pushing it. I think the 30 is doable based on the kind of figure level I'll have. So I'll have to do some more maths, but I'll be really interested into whether people have got any kind of numbers in their heads that they equate to tiny, small, regular and large, or if I'm being stupid and I've completely missed that somewhere in the rules. Obviously we can change it to make whatever you want, but that's my next goal, because once I've got that decided, once I've decided what constitutes large, what constitutes regular and small, etc., then I can start extrapolating that and combining that with the figures that I now have in terms of order of battle, and turning it into a scenario to play the cornfield area, or at least a big chunk of it, or a time period of it. I really just, there's so many cool bits of it that I'd like to incorporate as much as possible. I do wonder whether the sheer numbers of different Union troops that we use are going to be more of a headache for me than the Confederate side, just because one division may be withdrawn and then a completely fresh one comes in, and I know that happens with the Confederate side as much, but they have lower numbers there. They are holding on there to try and, to stop the turn of the tide. So I think that could be the problem in the end, and I may well find that the cornfield's still just too big an area to represent each regiment that's there. But we will see. We will see. I know there's going to be lots of comments about don't use black powder, use this rule set or that rule set. I get the logic around that, but I kind of want to use black powder if I can. I still want to keep as many of these regiments as possible. I know that there are some rules to play that kind of more than one division and having a core level commander, and I quite like the idea of looking at those high level rules that are in Glory Hallelujah and seeing if I can manage that within this game, and it'll just be huge. It'll be fantastic. My regular gaming for this will obviously be a bit smaller, but if I start with building my collection around the biggest projects I'm likely to want to do, I can always work backwards very, very easily. And if I'm playing a game then with just a couple of brigades, and then I can use a few more stands if I want to as well, just to make it look better on the table. Anyway, that's a lot of rambling and not models as well, book chat and things, so I have no idea how watchable that's going to be. Probably not, but I would be really interested in people's thoughts on how they intend to do it, and any more information, any more books that might help me. But I think this is about as good as it's going to get in terms of information I need. It's about converting that now into black powder stands and working out if I can do it, and whether I can make a ground scale that kind of all comes together at the same time. But the ACW vlogs will continue as I paint more and more stuff. I'm looking forward to waves 2 and 3, just because I can show you something different. I'm working my way through regular troops at the moment, so I don't want to just show you another identical looking regiment. The models you saw by the building were new ones I've painted, but they look the same as the ones I've done before, and people are going to get bored of watching these videos fast if it's just me showing, and this is another identical unit. So I'm looking forward to those waves, just because I can maybe paint some Zouaves or something else and show off some different models to you. And obviously there'll be unboxings of those things when they arrive. But if you haven't already and you're looking to follow along on the ACW epic scale journey, there will be many more videos, and they'll probably still make up the majority of what goes on the channel for a time being. So please do subscribe. Please feel to comment below. If you want to message me, you can get in contact with me, Miniature Realms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram as well. Obviously I am a commission painting business, so I have all those things in place for you to message me. Send me any information. If you want to talk American Civil War gaming, then yeah, I'm really happy to do it, and I've had some really lovely chats with a few people in the comments on the videos, and I'm really enjoying doing them. So take care, and I'll catch you soon.